Blog Talk Radio.
Warning. What you are about to hear are the views of Travis Pope and the Oklahoma Tomcat and is not supported by the government. Agreeing with the hosts of this show could cause you to be targeted by the government and government agencies. You have been warned.
See, son? Old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum look a lot alike, Daddy.
Bandit, me and my son are here.
Oh, I love your suits. It must be a bitch getting a size 68 extra fat.
Good morning, Texas.
Good morning. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're doing the show for tomorrow. Good morning, Texas.
And as Travis has given away, this is a pre-recorded show. So no call-ins. We're doing this because we were told by our producer that we will not have the show on Friday, a live show on Friday.
And we're rebelling against our producer because she says we're not having a show tomorrow. We're going to do it now.
That's because we're libertarian that way.
Yeah.
And as you guys heard in our opening clip, that was, as most of you should know, Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds. And unfortunately, he has passed away.
Yep. The world mourns a great guy.
Yeah. He did bring a lot of attention to the trucking industry, didn't he? I mean, unfortunately, we don't have trucking movies like we used to.
No, the only trucking movies they make now is where they're with serial killers. But no, the smoke movie Smokey and the Bandit did bring a lot of attention, possibly unwanted attention, really. While they're good shows. But,
yeah, actually good attention.
Yeah, but I've had DOT officers tell me all before we had these Qualcomms and these electronic logs. He said, "Yeah, the days of paper logs are coming to an end. The days of Smokey and the Bandit is no more."
Yeah, that's DOT though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as the outlaw truck driver, yeah, I mean that. But you know that was the more of the spirit back then. Also, I mean overall was the rebellious, free lifestyle type of thing, which is why that movie got so much, you know, was so popular and such a big hit, and still is today. I mean, my daughter, she's 12 years old. When she was on the truck, she loved that movie.
And I
she
still love that
all
movie
the time.
today. I still love that movie today. I mean,
that's what I.
And that's what that movie brought a lot of also good attention because, like you said, there was a freedom out here back then. In the 80s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, there's a lot of freedom out here in the trucking industry.
That's what I love. People win the truck driving was for that freedom. I mean,
yeah.
the open road, not having a real boss. I mean, other than you picking up on time, delivering on time, you know. It was a lot more free-spirited attitude back then.
Yeah, and your dispatchers and companies didn't know where you were until you stopped at that truck stop and made a call in.
Yep.
You know, this is before the cell phones where they can just call you and track you wherever you're at. You know, you'd call them in the morning and say, I'm heading out. This is where I plan to stop. Then you get to where you're going after 20 hours of driving. You'd call back in and tell them, hey, I'm stopped here. This is where I'm at. That's why, if any of our listeners have ever been to a truck stop, some of the older truck stops, you'll notice that they have rooms. And in these rooms, if you ever wondered what these rooms were about, that's where the drivers would go in and call their company. Because I know many of y'all probably don't even know what a regular phone is anymore, you know, a payphone. I mean, who's seen a payphone?
A payphone, yeah.
You'd call your company, collect, and give them your information where you're at, and get your next load.
Yep. And also, you remember at every table at the diners and also at the trucker's counter, there was a line of phones that we also had. We also used. You know, if you stopped, you know, for the night, you went in there and you grabbed your dinner, and while you're waiting on your food to show up, you'd make the phone call. I remember doing that.
Yeah. I did that plenty of times when I first started out. And the cell phones.
Yep.
Cell phones were just starting to be a thing, and there wasn't a lot of what do they call it, signal everywhere.
Right.
Unless you had track phone.
Yeah, track phone was the only one, but man, you went through those minutes like crazy.
Yeah, track phone back then.
Per minute.
Yeah, but they had signal everywhere. You know,
yep, they did.
You get a track phone, you had signal anywhere you went. Period.
Yep.
You know, you'd be up there on the tip top of Mount Everest, and you'd have a signal with track phone. Because track phone you paid for track phone, you bounced off of it. You was on everybody's tower back then.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my first cell phone was track. Well, no, it wasn't my first cell phone. My first cell phone was a bag phone back when cell phones were actually cell phones, where you had to, you only could operate it within a cell, you know, and if you went outside that cell, it was worthless.
Yeah.
But then my more modern day cell phone was the track phone. Where you were able to talk everywhere, but you paid per minute on that thing. So, man, you went through those minutes like crazy. You didn't have a conversation.
Yeah, that's why when I was a truck driver, you only use that track phone to call in.
Yep.
Because you burn through them minutes fast.
Yeah.
Man, who remembers that? Paying for
I remember
minutes,
roaming.
Roaming. Free nights and weekends. Free nights and weekends. So you never picked up your phone until 7 o'clock at night when it was free. I think it was from 7 to 7.
Yeah.
Someone calls you. You're like, this better be an emergency. Why? Because this is costing me. Nights and weekends free. Why are you calling me at 6:30?
Call me back in 30 minutes. and then there was the free if you called somebody who had the same carrier.
Free mobile to mobile back then.
Yeah, mobile to mobile. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't that if I called you from a T-Mobile phone to an AT&T phone, that wasn't mobile to mobile. Even though technically it is mobile to mobile, but to their definition, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, they did not exist to one another. So mobile to mobile was mobile to T-Mobile, AT&T to AT&T. Well, back then it was singular wireless, or Bell or Southwestern Bell singular wireless.
Yep, those were the days.
Yeah, that was my
remember.
first cell phone. That was my first cell phone. Is I went to a Southwestern Bell outlet and bought my phone from Southwestern Bell before it became singular wireless. So, man, we're going down old people's lane.
Yeah, now we're revealing our age.
Well, if we really want to reveal our age, you know, I wonder how many of these millennials and Tide Pod generation know anything about AOL and that loud sound that it made.
You've got mail.
You know what? I need that ringtone. You've got mail.
I used to have it as my notification on my cell phone anytime a message came, email came in. It always said that you got mail.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that for mine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you go to Zedge, you'll find it. You'll be able to download it.
Yeah. Speaking of trucking, you know what? Until today, I've been driving all the way down from Wyoming to Texas, and until today, I finally hit rain and been in it off and on all day long. I've seen those rain clouds float around me all the way down, and nothing ever hit me. And,
did you ever wave
today,
towards those rain clouds?
What's that?
Did you ever wave towards those rain clouds? Because guess who was in those rain clouds?
Oh yeah. We were waving at it, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Saying
hi, Joe.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were. Yeah, Oklahoma Tomcats following right on us. You know, we're doing the Smokey and the Bandit. I'm the bandit running for him. But we get down here, and it finally started raining on us, so I got to use my new windshield wipers for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in it since Monday. It wasn't until I got out of it a little bit yesterday, and today I'm in sunshine. This morning I wasn't.
Yeah, well, for now you're in sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife told me that in Oklahoma, they got storm. In fact, I can't take the truck home if I go home this weekend.
Y'all got that much up there?
Yep. Well, actually, that's not saying much because my yard kind of floods. We got what I call Lake Jones in our front yard. And hopefully that's going to change this winter because I do plan on graveling and knocking down a bunch of trees. Yes, environmentalists, I'm going to be clearing land and graveling it down so I can take the truck home even when the weather is bad.
Well, at least you got a Love's truck stop down the road.
Well, I don't park at that Love's because parking is at a minimum there. But that truck stop right there. That's the one I'll be parking at. Because they got more parking.
Yeah, you see how much to explain to people how libertarian I am. I made Joseph think I wasn't gonna be able to make it on the show by waiting until the very last second to get on call in. I had him. I probably had him fuming and mad and spitting and. Well, he don't cuss, but
no, I had everything planned. Actually, you ruined all the plans by coming on the show.
Well, I can leave.
Nah. I'm flexible. Luckily, I'm flexible like that, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, in the military, we're taught, you know, to adapt and overcome.
I'll tell you what, the military did good for you, man. Yeah. You post that picture of you when you were on Facebook, and I was oh my God, he's a freaking stick figure, man. He was. Look, folks, I'm telling you, he was skin and bones. There wasn't no muscle to him. The dude was skin and bones, and I was like, "Who? That can't be Joseph."
Yeah. Yep.
Man, the military did you some good, dude.
Actually, I was underweight in the military too. In fact, to join, I had to. My mom bought me, kept buying me these cases of Ensure. I had to drink them. You know, I drank several cans of them things to try to gain 5 pounds. Because now the Navy allows you to be lower weight than the other armed forces. In fact, they kind of like that, you know, because you got to go through scuttlebutts and all these other things, you know, in the ship. But then I lost it after boot camp. I lost all that weight. And when they took measurements of me to find out my body fat, it showed that I had negative muscle or negative fat. I'm like, I think I'm supposed to be dead. Actually, it wasn't until I got into truck driving that I started. Well, even in truck driving, it actually wasn't until I got married. Marriage makes you gain weight. You know that?
Don't let your wife hear that.
I've already told her.
That old woman was a wet polecat on a rainy day, on a sunny day. Don't tell her I said that.
Yeah.
She's meaner than a wet polecat on a winter day.
Yeah. Don't worry. I saved that sound clip and we'll send it to her.
I bet you did. You like getting in trouble with her. I'm telling you, people, he will call her up and tell her stuff that I said. You know what? I do it because it's fun. I like it because I know he's gonna do it. So and I'm a troll and I like getting her fired up because she'll tag me every time. She'll tag me every time. Oh, what's this? So if I say something about his wife, it's because I know he's going to say something to her, and she's going to tag me on it, ragging on me, and I'll just I'll do my regular emoticon on it and just laugh at it.
Yeah, she likes doing doing stuff like that. We get people who know my wife and I, and they just love it when my wife and I go back and forth, in a little play arguments and stuff like that, or little debates.
Yeah.
But you and our caller last time, we're talking about you guys' wife bringing up very liberal stuff and stuff like that. I do have to say I am lucky that I got a wife that has a lot of the same views I do. And we have our differences, but not a whole lot. Because probably irritate me to death if we had different political views.
Yeah, like I said, I like to agitate people, and your wife takes it good humor. I mean, that one time I texted you and said, I tried to call you, and you said busy, I'll call back later, and I said unacceptable, and your wife replied back and said your wife was on the actually you was at home at the time, and your wife replied back and said
oh yeah, she's sending those pictures and stuff like that.
Get over it, but what is it?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know that ain't Joseph, because he don't talk like that.
Yeah. Yeah. She often refers you and my friendship as a bromance.
Yeah, I heard her say something like.
Uh-oh, are we losing you?
No, I'm here. Oh,
there you are. Okay, you sound like you went tin can.
You know what? I'm gonna have to buy me another Bluetooth headset because the thing's messing up.
Okay. But that one comment you made, that last comment you made, sounds like you went a tin can. So what was it you were saying?
Man, my memory don't last for more than a second.
Oh, gee, you're supposed to have a good memory.
But on today's itinerary on our schedule, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about state taxes.
Break.
Yeah. We're going to talk about state taxes. Travis found something out about Oklahoma's state income tax, and so this subject here will probably get him really all. Yeah.
Hey, and if any of our listeners have any idea that's alternative what we found, hey, please contact us, and then on our next show we'll retract it and correct it. But until then, what we found is we'll stand.
Yeah. Yep. And also, we're going to talk about the great tiny city named Von. How do you pronounce that? Von Ormy.
Von
Texas.
Ormy. Yeah.
That's going to be kind of connected with our state taxes. And we're going to, in our trucking section, we're going to be talking about truck parking. There's several news. Yeah, well, there's a lot of news out there about it. And we're going to go through the various news articles. We didn't get to, this was a topic we were supposed to talk about in the last show, but we never got to it. So we'll talk about it in this
You
one.
went AWOL on us. With your Obama phone.
Whoa. There's a few days there where luckily we didn't have the show because you went Obama phone on me.
No, that was your producer going Obama phone on us.
No. I'm talking about when you and I are having our many meetings. But yeah, we're going to be going on break here shortly. So let's see. We will talk about earth water. Earth water is unlike any other water out there. It's got 70 plus trace minerals, and it also helps to get rid of the acidity in your body. The acid, if your body has too much acid level in it, you get a higher risk of getting cancer. And with earth water, it will lower the acid level in your body and reduce your chances of cancer. But also with the 70 plus trace minerals, your body needs minerals to remain healthy. This here will help you to reduce weight. It will help you to feel better, be more active, and it will also help you get sick less. Earth water is the only water that has all this in it. And, I mean, you can go in there and you can get your mineral waters, but it won't have as much minerals, and it won't be all natural minerals. And there is a difference between the natural and unnatural minerals. Man-made minerals is not the same. So if you're interested, you go to earthwater.com/PTAT. That's Papa Tango Alpha Tango. Or as Travis and I have said, it's PTAT. You go there, you can read all about earth water, and if you order from that website, you will get a discount on your order. But earth water doesn't just have bottled water. You can also get packets, which you can add to any water to be able to add natural minerals into your water. So that's earthwater.com/PTAT. Go there today, get your discount, and live a healthier life and replenish the minerals and hydrate. We'll be back after these messages. Alrighty. There we go.
Rest in peace to
Burt Reynolds.
The Liberty National Network.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You may have doubts about healthcare sharing. I know we did. We studied literature about Samaritan Ministries, but we feared that it was just too risky. Instead, as our health insurance premiums went up each year, we would increase our deductible to reduce the premium. And then the inevitable happened. We had to use our insurance. We had a medical need that included tests, doctor visits, and even outpatient surgery treatment that totaled over $7,000, and it was all out of pocket. It took us 3 years to pay off, even after several of our healthcare providers reduced their charges. And we finally took a leap of faith and joined Samaritan.
Each month, we get to give to an actual person with a medical need. We pray for them and put them in the hands of the Lord for physical, emotional, and financial strength and healing. There's no way to fully express that pleasure and joy. During the first year we were members, we had a medical need, and it was all provided for, and the strength, peace, and healing from prayer.
Last year, our son was injured on a mission trip, 1,200 miles from home. And the bills for the emergency room, doctors, stitches, and prescriptions totaled $5,300. But every last cent was provided for. In fact, last year we had 2 more needs, and each time our Samaritan family came through.
I worked in healthcare for 10 years, from front desk through billing. I would recommend Samaritan instead of any insurance product out there. Insurance has no assurances. In fact, it seems everything is written in such a way that there will be no assurance at your time of need. We just wish that we had trusted in God's provisions sooner.
It is such a blessing to come alongside our brothers and sisters in Christ and share in each other's healthcare burdens. And there's such a peace and joy knowing that God is answering our prayers, bringing healing and providing for our needs.
Hi, I'm Eric, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on natural rights versus entitlements.
America was founded on the idea that human beings are born with natural rights, such as the rights to life, liberty, and property. A person who holds this view of rights makes no demands on others except that they respect those rights. Today, however, many Americans talk about rights to a college education, state-of-the-art medical care, and even birth control pills. These are rights understood as entitlements, and a person who holds this view of rights, far from making no demands on other people, is making claims on other people's money and resources. This understanding of rights not only sets citizens against each other, but it undermines the whole idea of natural rights.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
Miss Producer is also known as Miss Giggles. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network. If you want to be part of the show, dial 914-338-1906 and then press 1.
Now, for the last time, where is the money?
Just like he said, Happy. Half of it I spent on whiskey and women, and the other half I wasted.
All right, welcome back to Political TNT, and I want to give a little plug to that one commercial that we play with Samaritan Ministries. This month here, I use my family uses Samaritan Ministries, and normally when you the way the whole thing works is you'll get a name of a person that has gone to the doctors or the hospital and they need their medical bills paid, and whatever amount you pay per month you send to the person, which I love that idea because you're actually writing a check out to a person and not to a company. But normally, unfortunately, you get and they'll say a little bit about why they went to the doctor or hospital, for you to be able to pray for them and all that stuff. And normally, unfortunately, the information is a sad one, because most of us, we go to doctors and hospitals because something bad happened. This month, though, I was pleased to write out that check because it was for someone who had a baby. Had a child, so that was like a blessing type thing, so instead of writing I'm sorry to hear, because you write a letter to them, instead of writing a letter, of a sympathy letter, it was a blessing letter, but that's something that, everybody, when it comes to any of those healthcare shares, there's plenty out there, and you do have to read through them because it isn't insurance. It's because there's no guarantee you're going to get a check if someone decides they're not going to make a payment. But see, that's the other great thing about it is I know in my case, that's the first bill I pay. And it's not really a bill, it's giving somebody else money. But that's the first thing I pay because it feels terrible when you know somebody's depending on that money and you don't send it. that would make me feel real bad. But I just want to give that little plug in, about Samaritan Ministries, which I think is out of all of them, that one's the best one. What we're going to hit on is, unfortunately, a not sharing burden, but actually having a burden from the government, and that is taxes. Yeah, let me do both of us here. Yeah, some that, and here's a real funny thing. We get status that act like they're supporting the tax. Anytime we speak bad about taxes and the government tax system and tax codes and all that, they'll speak. I've not yet met anyone when it comes to tax time. They're like, "Yay, I get to pay money in." Have you ever met anyone like that, Travis?
No.
In fact, normally everybody's trying to figure out ways to get around it. So even the statists don't even agree their taxes. But something that Travis came across. Travis lives in Texas. You explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me break this down. Okay.
All right.
I was having a discussion with somebody about unemployment insurance. How they tell me that unemployment insurance, they go, well, it's my money, I paid into it. Well, no, you don't. But so I don't chase on rabbit trails here. I was doing research on unemployment insurance, and so I got a copy of because see, our check stubs are normally on a secure server, and we have to go download them to look at them. Well, I haven't looked at my check stub, and so I got it and I started looking at it, and I don't see nowhere on there about unemployment insurance. But I got derailed in the continuance of my investigation on another investigation. Mm-hmm. Because, see, I live in Texas. I'm a resident of Texas. I'm a Texan. I'm born, raised my entire life in Texas. My name is even after Colonel William Travis, Republic Army, who died in Alamo. I am Texas through and through. So I'm sitting there looking at my check stub, and I scroll down and I see under the taxes, Oklahoma. Yeah. Oklahoma state taxes. When I seen that, I blew up everybody's phone that I can think of, even including Oklahoma Tomcat, because I was ranting and raving. I'm telling you, I was mad because I've worked for other companies, trucking companies in other states such as Nebraska and other states. And even in Oklahoma, I've worked for trucking companies in Oklahoma too. And not once have I ever had that state tax taken out of my check. So, doing research, me and the Oklahoma Tomcat He's going to have to change his name now. We can't call him Oklahoma. We just don't call him Tomcat now. I am furious because we looked it up, and within the last 3 or 4 years or something, I guess, Oklahoma decided to start taking taxes out of non-residential citizens. So me and Oklahoma Tomcat pitched this around, looked over everything, and sure enough, Oklahoma requires taxes to be taken out of people's checks who don't even live in the state. Now, here's my problem with that bullshit. I don't have no representation in that state. I can't vote in that state. People go, well, you get to drive on our roads. Your roads ain't pristine up there, Oklahoma. I mean, almost every freaking show I complain about your roads up there. I mean, it's not. I don't feel on your roads. Your roads will probably give me a hernia in the end. And then another person, I'm not going to mention names, Oklahoma Tomcat, said, at least you get the benefit of law enforcement. I try to avoid them suckers every time I see them because it don't. I drive an 18-wheeler. They don't try to give me a ticket regardless. They're getting my money one way or another to pay for that law enforcement. You see, Oklahoma Tomcat just went quiet on me.
Oh, I'm letting you do your little rant.
And then me and Oklahoma Tomcat kicked around a little bit more. So me and Oklahoma Tomcat kicked around a little bit more. And let's say this, we have a driver that works out of Washington State. Okay, we do have one that works out of Washington State. And they take taxes out of their check as well up there. So this driver's paying double taxes. He's being taxed in Washington, and he's being taxed in Oklahoma. And he's getting taxed by everything he buys in between. Now, granted, Texas doesn't have state income taxes. We do have a high sales tax, but that pays for a lot of our stuff. But yet, we're not going broke in Texas.
Yep, which we'll go over various state taxes too. But what Oklahoma's doing here, and I'm sure there's other states that do it too, but being that I do live in Oklahoma, I feel I can speak out against this, and even bring it up to Chris Powell, and maybe even bring it up to Mary Fallon and our representatives. Here's my whole thing on this and why I'm so much against it. And I'm going to address some of these comments I've gotten also when I posted this on my on certain groups. Here's the big problem. All right, even in states where you don't have the income tax, like Texas, you're still paying a lot of taxes. It's just in different areas. So you're still getting double taxed because, states like Texas and a few other states out there don't have income tax, but they have a high property and high sales tax. So they're paying all the taxes to go to operate their government down there. And then you have another state like Oklahoma taxing them also for the government we have here in Oklahoma. It's totally number one, it's unconstitutional. Okay? People working in Oklahoma that do not live in Oklahoma are not represented. They have no say in the taxes in Oklahoma. They have no say in the roads. They have no say in the police force. They have no say. They can rant and rave, but they cannot vote or even petition the government because they are not registered voters in Oklahoma. They can't be registered voters in Oklahoma. So this is not right at all for this to happen. And some people may think, oh, well, if you don't live in Oklahoma, you really shouldn't live in Oklahoma. There are industries in every state that do depend on people outside the state. Trucking's one of them. All right. You also have the oil fields. You also have, there are several industries in your state that depend on people from the outside. Without the people from the outside of the state, there ain't enough people in the state to cover all these jobs, especially if you're a state where you're trying to bring in work, bring in business and stuff like that, in which Oklahoma's one that's trying to do that. This ain't helping them one bit. Because think about it. The company we work for is stationed in Oklahoma. Our employer tries very hard to get people in the trucks. If he has trouble doing that, and if people from outside the state realize, hold it here, I'm paying taxes in Oklahoma because I'm working in Oklahoma. Well, shoot, I don't want to work in Oklahoma, and end up quitting. What do these employers have left to do if they can't find enough people in Oklahoma to drive for them, or to work the oil fields, or any of this other stuff? What do these employers have left to do? Move out of the state and go to a state where they're not going to tax the outside work. So how is that helping your state? Now you just lost all you lost all the taxes that the employer was paying, right?
You know what? This is Oklahoma's version of tariff wars.
Really?
This is Oklahoma's versions of tariff. Okay, fine. I'm gonna run for governor of Texas, and we're don't go to tariff war with Oklahoma. All right. Anybody who lives in Oklahoma who comes to Texas has to pay state taxes. Nobody else, just Oklahoma.
I don't understand
we're gonna jack it up to 15%.
I do not see how that helps out the state. I mean, if you're looking to get more employers in, how's that helping out? Especially if your economy depends on the oil companies. I mean, Oklahoma, you guys depend on oil and gas. A lot of these companies hire people from other states to come in and do the work.
Here's also what we're gonna do. We're gonna require zip codes to go with your bank card at every gas station, every supermarket, every time, and stuff like that. And you'll have to require to show your ID, because when you show your ID, we don't punch in resident Oklahoma, and we're gonna charge you a 10 cent tax instead of 8 cents.
Well, guarantee I won't go to Texas. But and see that's a great example what Travis and I just did. Travis, said that okay, we'll do the same thing down in Texas. I'm like, I won't go to Texas. You lose that money, guys. I mean, Travis, think about it. We have drivers in our states. I think they haven't even looked at their pay stubs. Imagine what will happen if they look at their pay stubs and see, that they're being double taxed.
Yeah.
Our employer will lose employees. If that happens enough, I wouldn't blame our employer one bit if he moves the company.
Yeah, and then you turn around and I called the payroll company first before we found out that the Oklahoma could tax us, and their reply was, well, just file for return at the end of the year. I shouldn't have to.
No.
I don't live in Oklahoma. That's more paperwork for me.
And if you go through a tax service, that's more money also because, tax services pay per form.
Yeah. I shouldn't have to pay that. Yeah, well, I normally do my own taxes anyways, but yeah. I don't like – that's more paperwork I got to worry about. That's more paper. I better file for Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's actually, if you do your own taxes, yeah, that's a lot more headache because now you have to be familiar with Oklahoma's taxes.
No. At the end of the year, I'm just going to send them a bill and say, you owe me this amount of money, and if you don't pay it on time, I'm going to send it to a debt collector, and I'm going to repo your state. I'm going to own the state of Oklahoma for. I'm going to own the state of Oklahoma for $1,000.
Let me know how that goes. Oh.
No, I probably won't even do anything about it. It's not worth my time and headache to file those papers for them. I don't live there. I'm not going to do it. But you're not getting anything else from me, I tell you that. I made sure of that.
Yep.
Come after me. I dare you. I live in Texas. Come after me, Oklahoma.
All right, let me read this one comment. I'm not going to say names. This one person commented, don't you have to pay it because that is the state where you are making your income? That is like saying, quote, I live in Texas, so I shouldn't have to pay Oklahoma sales tax when I'm in Oklahoma. Typical statist.
Where was that
one at? Let me explain it. That was in Oklahoma politics.
Oh, I'm not in that one.
Let me explain it this way. All right. If you are in Oklahoma and you buy something, how many state taxes are you paying on that product? Oklahoma. Even if you drive through Oklahoma, yes, anything you buy in Oklahoma, you'll have to pay the sales tax on. If you drive through New York, you have to pay the New York sales tax, and so forth and so forth and so forth. The cool thing is, if you don't want, like for instance, I usually avoid buying stuff in California. So what I do is I buy stuff before I get into California, and I just minimize what I buy in California, the only essentials. Okay? And Travis already said he's boycotting Oklahoma, so he's going to buy everything before he goes into Oklahoma. And he's able to do that. So you're able to avoid that tax simply by not buying anything in that state. When it comes to working, yes, you can choose where you work and stuff like that. But if there's a good company in Oklahoma, why shouldn't somebody be able to work in Oklahoma? Or Texas, or any of these other states? And why do you have to pay two taxes? Because like what Travis was mentioned before, we have somebody working for this company who lives in Washington State. He's paying two taxes. He's double taxed. And you do not benefit, if you don't live in Oklahoma, you don't benefit from the many things that those taxes go towards in Oklahoma. It is just wrong. It's robbery, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and to that person, I hope they're listening. I hope they're listening. My company needed a driver. If you don't want me, if you're wanting your money to stay in there in Oklahoma, why didn't you go to work for them instead of me? I could have found another company working down here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed another driver, so I went to work for them. I mean, you weren't there to go to work for them to keep the money in Oklahoma. Taxes, I pay sales tax every time I go into Oklahoma. Not anymore. I won't ever buy anything else in Oklahoma. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure my company gets diesel in another state before I get it in Oklahoma. How's that? I'm going to take your money out of Oklahoma by buying diesel for this truck in another state before I enter into Oklahoma. How does that sound?
Okay, and then another comment. I do believe other states have you file non-resident income tax if the state has a income tax. Nothing unusual here. Wrong. As Travis mentioned, he's worked in for companies located in other states. So have I. I've worked in a company that's based in Iowa and based in Nebraska and based in Missouri. I believe all three states have income tax. No, I never paid the taxes in those states. I paid taxes in Oklahoma. So this is not a common thing.
Yeah, and matter of fact, when I worked for another company in Oklahoma City, they're based out of Oklahoma City, right there off of 40 and 44. When I worked for them, I lived here in Texas. They didn't take Oklahoma state taxes out of my check. And then for about 6 months while I was working there, I went to North Carolina and was staying in North Carolina for about 6 months. As soon as I changed my address over to North Carolina, they started taking taxes out of my check for North Carolina, and I didn't realize it. But I was paying attention to my pay, and my pay was coming in wrong, and I sent them a message. I said, hey, I called payroll, and I said, hey, why is my check smaller than what it normally is? Well, you got to pay North Carolina state income taxes. As soon as she told me that, I contacted my wife, and I said, I'm going back to Texas. I said, you could stay here in North Carolina if you want, but my fat ass is moving back to Texas. And now we got to go to break.
Yes. And what we're something that truck drivers should think about is how they're going to defend themselves if anything happens. Carrying a gun, yes, you can carry a gun. There is no federal law preventing you from carrying a gun as a truck driver, despite of all the stories you may hear. Many companies do have policies against such things, so you do have to check with the company, first of all, to see if you can carry a gun. But then you also have to know every single state's gun laws and which states recognize your concealed carry permit. And if you're in a state where they don't have a concealed carry permit, then you can't do it anyway. But
one of the things that truck drivers can carry in most states, the majority of states out there, is a taser. Travis and I both have tasers. We get them from truckers-defense.com. If you go there, you can check out the tasers they have. They also have stun guns. I prefer the taser myself because of the fact that it does shoot a dart 15 feet so that the person attacking you does not get on top of you. Because I don't want that person, someone attacking me, I don't want near me. As Travis has mentioned, I'm a small person. It'd be very hard for me to get into a hand-to-hand combat with. So, I highly recommend the taser. Also, the taser is good for even if you're not a truck driver. If you're a person who would hesitate shooting somebody, even in self-defense, a taser is a good alternative. Also, even if you carry a gun, a taser is a good thing to carry because taking someone's life should be the last resort. With a taser, you shoot them, they don't even feel the pain from the electricity. They just collapse and poop themselves. So go to truckers-defense.com, check them out. Also, if you go to my YouTube channel, OK Tomcat, search through the videos, you'll see a video of me firing my taser pulse. And I talk a little bit about it there in that video too. So that's truckers-defense.com. Check them out. We'll be back after these messages. Shortly.
Maybe one of these days you'll find it.
The Liberty National Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh, yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is, busy, I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Horses are non-threatening. They're a majestic, magnificent creature. We see guys and gals find a great sense of inner peace and calmness as they start listening to the breathing of the horse, and they start grooming the horse, and they start being around the horse as much. Something magical starts happening with that connection that's hard to actually put into words, but it's palpable. You can feel it. You can feel that connection.
My name is Sterling Buckles, and I was a Lance Corporal with 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines, and I was injured in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was actually hit in the head by a sniper bullet that penetrated through my helmet and collapsed the right side of my skull, and it was just a blessing that I survived it and got medevaced right away to Baghdad, where there was an Army brain surgeon gave me brain surgery to take all the fragments of the skull out of my brain and then put in 2 titanium plates. Coming back, I was diagnosed pretty much right away with 100% PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so, to say the least, life has been really difficult. Horses for Heroes program has been a real blessing to my life, to where now I feel like I have more of a purpose. That's a big thing coming back, is you were so important while you were serving in the military that you come back and you don't feel like you really have a purpose anymore in life, or that you're really behind the other 20-something-year-old people that, had done other choices with their lives. If I come down here and I feel really anxious and just filled with anxiety and nervous, and I spend a little bit of time with the horse, it seems like the horse calms me down and my anxiety level just starts to really drop. So you're not really caring about yourself the whole time, but you're caring about something else. Really kind of gives me a good sense of accomplishment, and at the end of the day you're tired, but it's a good tired.
Hi, I'm Corinne, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on the threat of bureaucratic despotism.
One of the chief sponsors of the Dodd-Frank Finance Reform Bill called that legislation, quote, about as important as it gets, because it deals with every single aspect of our lives, end quote. And how does this legislation deal with every aspect of our lives? In the most unconstitutional way. It sets up a board called the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has the power to regulate our economic transactions independently of both the President and Congress. In other words, permanent government employees are placed in charge of us beyond the control of those we elect, the control of we the people. This is a violation of the representative form of government without which there can be no constitutional government.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
The Liberty National Network.
Travis Pope Mason.
What's your 20? What's your 20?
About 16 miles this side of Mississippi. Whoa, hold it. I just passed another Kodiak with a Kodak. This place crawling with bears. Where the hell are you? Come back.
I'm still trying to get rid of that Texas County Mountie. I don't know what the hell he wants.
You know what he wants. I mean, how would you like to be the dude that handcuffs a legend?
Listen, give me 5 minutes. We're going to put some moves on that mother. I'll meet you at Ole Miss.
Well, you better hurry or we can just kiss that money goodbye. You understand that?
I'll read you loud and clear. 10-4.
I was a little bit too fast on that trigger finger, didn't I?
What's that?
I was a little too fast on that trigger finger.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. This is a pre-recorded show, so actually you cannot call into the show. Travis and I have taken over the show.
You can try to, but I don't think it'll work.
Yeah. No, it won't. No one will answer the phone. Travis and I have taken over the show, and we're the only ones that's going to speak during this show because, we're controlling that way.
Yeah.
So I got a question. Could a libertarian government actually work?
Well, we're libertarians, so we better hope it could.
There's a number of people who say no, it can't, and they often think libertarians are anarchists. And apparently there's a town that, unfortunately, is an example is a good example for them that no, it cannot work. And unfortunately, after Travis and I looked it over, we found out that this town made a lot of mistakes, gobs of it. Because first of all,
did you look it up too?
Yeah, well, I've got one story up, but I didn't go as far as in depth as what you did earlier. But Travis and I, we just got done criticizing, the taxes and stuff like that, and double taxes. But there's something that a lot of people do not realize. They think libertarian, they think anti-government, and no, we're not anti-government. We are not even really anti-tax. We're against wasteful spending, and we're against high taxes. But we do realize that there does have to be, to have freedom, as the founding fathers have put it, to have freedom, you must have limited government. Otherwise, you have no freedom because you'll be spending all day protecting your stuff. But at the same rate, to pay for that government, you do have to have some source of income. And there's a town, Ormy. Is that how you pronounce it, Travis? Being this Texas town.
Von Ormy, O-R-M-Y, Von Ormy.
Yeah. This town was set up. Actually, I'll let Travis explain because he did a little bit more looking into it than I did.
Well, it's basically a libertarian experiment that gone wrong, which they claim it libertarian, which after you reading everything about it, I doubt it has anything to do with libertarian and more with anarchism. But or it's somebody just trying to discredit the ideas of libertarianism altogether. So they destroyed a town. But who knows all that? But what happened is that this town is just south on 35 of San Antonio. And San Antonio is growing, and they're swallowing up all the unincorporated towns. So Von Ormy decided they're going to incorporate, become its own entity, and while they're still part of the county of San Antonio, but they wanted to do away with all property taxes, lower sales tax, and they started passing laws and regulations where there was no curfew, no nothing, no this, no that, and basically giving liberty to the people. And great idea. I mean, hey, if it'll work, it'll work. I love it. But in this incident, it didn't work. People started fighting, power grabs. Like me and you've always talked about, if there's anarchy in a society, there's gonna be power grabs.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you have a void, something's got to come in and take it. And
yeah.
And anarchy, that's one of the things, and Travis and I battled with others on this before, because unfortunately, we do have anarchists that come in and claim they're libertarian. Libertarian, if you read their platform, there's nothing in it on anarchy. Because, like I said earlier, to have freedom, you have to have government. There's no way around it. You have to have somebody come in to protect your rights. In the past, it's always been a sheriff. Now we've got governments and stuff like that. But or you have to hire someone to do it. In a society, what we do is we hire the government to do it. That's and hence the tax. But in this town, one of the things I find really troubling, one of the things they bring up is the funding of the government. You have to fund the government, guys. You have to. One way or another, I've heard different theories, and some of them sound, like that could work. One of the theories, ways of funding the government would be a usage fee. All right, I could see where a usage fee would work. If you use the service, you have to pay it. Somebody was telling Travis earlier, in my town, we have a volunteer fire department. Even with a volunteer fire department, you have to have funds. One of the ways we do it is people in the town can either donate the money to the fire department, or if you end up needing the fire department, you'll be charged. So I mean that's one way to do it. Because we don't have a city tax in my town. So and we do have a county tax which pays for the school. But that's one of many ways you can fund the government usage fees if they would have done that. Otherwise, sales tax. I've driven through this town on I-3. I've seen the signs, but I've never actually paid any attention to this town or anything. But I think Travis was saying before the show, they were looking at bringing in commerce companies and stuff, and then you charge sales tax. Yep, actually, sales tax to me makes more sense than income tax and property tax. I think property tax is a ripoff, personally. You shouldn't have to pay taxes on things you own year after year after year after year. But the problem with that sounded like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, but it sounded like they tried rushing into this a little too fast, and they weren't really set up to do this.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, is that they cut the taxes too quick on other areas while not being prepared for, because, they wanted, and that would be great, too, because they didn't have property taxes, so a lot of companies were wanting to move to Von Ormy.
Right.
But they don't have the septic system for that. They have to connect to San Antonio's septic system, and it was going to cost them about $5 or $6 million.
Yep. So maybe getting rid of the taxes right away wouldn't have worked, because you have to pay for that. But that's the thing is, and we see this in libertarians running for like Oklahoma, Texas, and all that. We know that they're not going to turn the state into a libertarian state right away. You can't do that. And it sounds like they tried doing that. They weren't set up. For instance, with septic, I'm sure there's other things also that made it to where they weren't ready to go total libertarian right away. But that's one of the things, we learn in life. I know I've learned it with my house, because my house needs lots of repairs and stuff. You can't rush into stuff. You have to take it piece by piece by piece. And that's really what they should have done. And because libertarian government does work. We have history to prove it. All right. I mean, the whole founding of this country, it does work. The thing is, we've gone so far away from, freedom and the Constitution that it ain't going to change overnight. You can't change it. You can't even take one city or one town. I would not be able to leave, let's say I become mayor of Bearden. Let's say Bearden suddenly has a mayor. I become mayor of Bearden. I would not be able to turn that town into a libertarian town right overnight. And especially when you're, doing it with a city because, you do have the county too in the state. But it's not an overnight project, and that's what it sounds like they did. It sounds like they tried rushing this thing.
Yeah. And like I said, to me it sounded like they just got a bunch of kids in there that knew nothing about running politics or running anything, and they a bunch of wannabe politicians that don't know anything. You had a couple of them that were considered.
Yeah, it would be interesting to find out if this. I just saw her name on here just a little bit ago. If this mayor of this town even had any experience in governing or even being a manager. I mean, because mayors really should have management experience, being that that's pretty much what they're doing to a whole town is managing it. Trina Reyes, that's her name. Trina Reyes. She was the mayor of this town. I guess she still is, maybe. But she's wanting to run away, which I find that kind of hilarious. That's another thing. I mean, that right there tells me she has no governing experience because when your ship is sinking, you don't run away.
I find it funny I find it funny that the law enforcement parked all their cruisers in her front yard and left. They abandoned. How many cruisers is it? Abandoned cop cars sat in Trina Ray's yard for 8 months. She wanted them gone, but there were no police to come get them. Yeah. All the radios that they carry was in her house, the computers and everything that ran the police station was in her house.
Yep. Yeah, which tells me that they probably lost the police station.
What I was reading here is that their town hall is in a mobile home. That's their town hall, and they had their town hall meetings at the local bar.
Wow. See, that tells me that they tried rushing into something. They were getting way over their head. This town wasn't even set up to be incorporated in the first place.
They was having their town hall meetings, their town meetings, their business meetings in the bar until the bar owner kicked them out.
Hey, libertarian, I mean, you can't just go and take over somebody's business, and the person doesn't want you in their business, they can kick you out. I mean, wow, that really does illustrate how this town was really tiny. I mean, they were not really developed to be able to become a city. They had 1,300 people, which to me that's a lot because I always live in small towns. But they weren't set up at all. I mean, not even a septic sewer system or anything. They were way over their head. Way over.
Yeah. With no plan.
They should take baby steps. Yeah, no plan. Yeah, they had nothing planned. I mean, holding your town meetings in any type of business. I mean, that's crazy. But here's the thing. Okay, they blame this mostly on funding, right?
Yeah.
No police. So they had no funding for the police. No doubt. No funding for fire department. Why they just get rid of their taxes like that? I mean, because apparently these things were operational before, right?
Yeah. Even their volunteer fire department shut down due to lack of funding.
That's nuts. What they do? Just cut off and say, okay, no more taxes. There. I mean, talk about going to extremes.
Yeah, I mean, what? Okay, you don't like taxes, so why didn't you? Okay, look, I understand. Here you go. Here's you. You're the mayor. Okay, people, we need to have a town hall meeting. We need all 1,500 people in this town to show up. We need y'all all here. Period. Okay. Well, we need all eligible voters in here. You're here. Look, we want to do with taxes. We think taxes are bad. Here's our libertarian. Taxation is theft. Okay, cool. Taxation is theft. We all can agree on that, right? Yeah. We don't want to do no more pay. Okay. No more land taxes. Okay, but before we make this decision, we need to figure out how we're going to pay for the local government, the roads, the police department, the fire department, and stuff like that. Okay, cool. So how about we just do a sales tax? Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay, we can deal with the sales tax. Okay. Here's our problem. We need to draw more businesses in into our town, but in order for us to do that, we have to build a $5 to $6 million pipeline to connect to the San Antonio sewage, so that way we can have these businesses come in. Without the sewage line, then we can't draw more businesses in and run our town strictly off sales tax. So what do we need to do from there? Are y'all going to voluntarily help dish up the money for $5 to $6 million, or do we need to vote on a bond where everybody is going to pay for throughout time for this until we get the businesses rolling through here? Because you could do that too. You could ask for a bond that you can pay back. And we as citizens can pay for that bond through our taxes or volunteer until we start getting enough businesses rolling through here to live off of sales tax. And I'm cut off by the counter.
The Liberty National Network.
Where do you want to go to lunch? I'm having a stroke. Did you hear what I said? I'm having a stroke. Why aren't you answering me? I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F. Face drooping. A. Arm weakness. S. Speech difficulty. T. Time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The oldest existing human that we know of is the 5,300-year-old body of a man, frozen in ice, that was uncovered by climbers in the Italian Alps in 1991. His name is Ötzi, the Iceman, and aside from being extremely well preserved, he was remarkable for another reason: the 61 tattoos that adorned his body. For as long as we've been on the planet, humankind has marked their bodies to commemorate important events, imply meaning, or signify value. Everything from a sailor's inscription of a lost lover's name to the tribal markings of indigenous peoples denoting a ceremony or achievement reminds us that using permanent markings can be one of the clearest ways to show what's meaningful to us. As it turns out, we aren't the only ones who do this. God does too. Listen to this powerful verse in Isaiah. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. That verse is part of a passage where God reminds his people that he has not forgotten them, even during an extended period of captivity. And while the most important part may seem to be the fact that God has engraved or tattooed the name of his people on his body, it's worth considering where that engraving occurs: his hands. A lot has changed in the lives of human beings over the years, but we still use our hands for nearly every daily task imaginable. We look at them hundreds, maybe even thousands of times each day. The implication here is powerful, that our names are never out of God's sight. I want us to think about that. If your own life's commitments were to be written on your hands, what would they be? Work, school, your career? Or would they be the names of people in your life, family members, friends, and those inside or outside of your church community? It's often easy to lose sight of what matters amidst the hustle and bustle of our lives, but I think this verse and the principle it embodies ought to be a powerful reminder to all of us of two things: to put first things first in our lives, and remind us of our Heavenly Father's love for us. I want you to picture his hands right now, the same hands that knit the galaxies together, and then picture your own name, tattooed in his skin. Powerful, isn't it? Our God has marked us into his heart as permanently as ink sets into our skin. We are always in his mind, always in his eyes, and always in his heart. I'm Joseph Tkach, speaking of life.
Hi, I'm Joy, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on why the Constitution limits government.
James Madison writes in Federalist 51 that men are not angels. Their passions and self-interest often get the better of their reason and sense of justice. So we need government in order to protect our rights against those who would take them away. But for the same reason, Madison writes, government must be limited, because people in government have passions and interests too. Many Americans today forget this, supposing that we can do away with constitutional limits on government, supposing that the unelected bureaucrats being put in charge of our health care, for example, will rule as if they are angels. If Madison was correct about human nature, this is foolish and dangerous.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
The Oklahoma Tomcat thinks he is a big tough cat, but he is actually as harmless as a kitten. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network. If you want to be part of the show, dial 914-338-1906 and then press 1.
Welcome back to Political TT. This is a pre-recorded show, so do not call in. Well, you can call in if you want. We'll give you that freedom, but no one's going to answer the phone.
But real quick, let me finish my little deal here. But if you don't give these people options like that, you're not going anywhere, because you got to have funding and you got to have the facilities to grow like you want, to be able to just operate off of sales tax. And they didn't give them that option.
Mhm. Yeah, but don't just say no more taxes. You know, and there are other options you can do. You know, but I found out while we were, in the last segment there, I found out why Dan Ormy actually failed. We both have it wrong, Travis. We have it totally wrong. I'm looking at a picture right now of the architect of the Von Ormy Liberty Town, and he's standing right with the right next to the Von Ormy sign, city limit sign, and underneath that sign it says "No through trucks." So that's my theory. I think they failed because they didn't allow truck drivers in.
Yeah, well, that would do it, because if you can't take your truck through there, you can't get your product through there.
Yep. So that did it, guys. See, all you cities that want to put up those signs saying no through trucks, you don't let truck drivers through. You know, we might take a break in your town, might buy stuff. You know, bring you a little bit of business.
Me and you need you know what? You know, I'm gonna win the lotto one of these days, and when I do, I'm gonna buy a huge land, a bunch of land, thousands of acres, and I'm gonna incorporate it and call it Truck Town, and I'm just gonna turn it into a town for truckers.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like an idea there. We'll show that libertarian government does work.
Yeah, because most truck drivers, they really are more. Oh yeah, you might be able to get into a discussion of them out here, you know, and you might find you a liberal one and a Republican one, but deep in their heart, most truck drivers are libertarian.
Mhm.
They're veterans and they're libertarian.
And actually, we kind of hit on that in our first half hour when we were talking about, you know, the whole spirit of the truck driver, you know. That spirit is actually in the libertarian movement, you know. I mean,
yeah.
Libertarians in general are free-spirited.
Yeah, and I've talked to many of our guests on the show. I tell them all the time, you have to learn to tap into one of your biggest supporters. And they're like, who's that? Truck drivers. You've got to tap into that voter block. Y'all forget about us out here. We don't have no representation. We are a forgotten part of society. But yet we're on every freaking major highway out here.
Yep. But, you know, in part, we kind of did that to ourselves. I'm talking about truck drivers and, you know, of course, you and I, we're big into government and voting and all that stuff. But, you know, for a long time, truck drivers were not big voters. You know, that was not one the thing. If you do not, that's why I emphasize so much, register to vote and vote. Because when you have a complaint, you write your representatives. Guess what your representatives kind of do? Are you a voter? You know, if you're not a voter, why would they want to listen to you? They want to listen to people who are going to keep them in office. You know, and that's so natural. I mean, even in your job, you know, you want to follow those that are going to keep you employed.
You know, you're not going to listen to someone who's not going to matter, you know, to your employment.
Yeah, I mean, just like Oklahoma, you know, that's straight up highway robbery. You know, I'm a voter, but I can't vote in Oklahoma. But you're stealing my money.
Yeah, yeah, you're actually taxed without representation. And speaking of taxes, let me go down this list real quick. I'm just gonna list the top 10 and then Texas and some other states that we might be interested in, and the worst states when it comes to taxes. All right, because in our last show we talked about the freest states. You know, which states have the most freedom. Now I have a list of which states have the highest and lowest taxes. Now, what they did is they took the three biggest taxes that a lot of people pay. Now, this you know, it may change on you personally because you may not pay a particular tax or whatever. But they took sales tax and excise tax. They put them together and came up with what the percentage is in the state. Now, cities are going to be higher. Individual income tax, they have the percentage, and they have the property tax, the percentage. And then they average them together, and you come up with your total tax burden. All right? And they rated the states, which ones had the highest and the lowest tax burden with using those three numbers. Number one, the state with the least taxes is Alaska, 4.94%. Now that's all three taxes together, 4.94%. Delaware comes in number two with 5.68%. Tennessee, number 3, 6.47%. Florida, number 4, 6.64%. Now, if you take this list and you put the other list that I listed before on the free states, that can kind of give you an idea maybe where you want to live. Florida is number 1 on the most, having the most freedom. Here, they're number 4 on the taxes. So Florida looks pretty good. I wouldn't want to live there personally. Too hot. New Hampshire, 7.07%. That's number 5. Now, New Hampshire was number 2 on the freedom list. So that looked appealing to me, but then when I went down their tax rates, their income tax is only 0.13%. Sales tax is 1.34%, but they're making it up through the property tax. So now New Hampshire is not on my list. 5.6%. That's a high property tax. 5.6% is their property tax. Oklahoma comes in number 6, 7.17%. I still say though, even though they're number 6, that is rip-off for them to be taxing non-residents. And now we see why they're so low on their taxes, because they're taxing people who are not even residents. South Dakota, number 7, 7.22%, and Alabama, number 8, 7.24%. Montana, 7.64%. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And number 10 is Virginia, 7.77%. So that's the 10 best states when it comes to taxes. New York, why do you guys even stay there? Why? You guys were last place on freedom. Guess what you guys hit when it comes to taxes? Last place. New York is 13.04%. Hawaii, another one. That was also on a bad list when it came to freedom. 11.57% for Hawaii. Maine comes in third as far as the worst states for tax, 11.02. Fourth is Vermont, 10.94%. Minnesota, 10.37%, number 5. Number 6 is Connecticut, 10.19%. Rhode Island, 10.14%. 8 is Illinois. I'm shocked they're at number 8. I thought they'd be a lot lower. 10.08%. New Jersey, 10.02%. And number 10 is California. They made the 10 worst states, 9.57%. So there you guys have it. Travis.
Yeah.
Texas. Let me find them.
Hey, I don't care what you say about Texas. I don't care what you say about Texas. We'll still whoop your ass.
Texas. They come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18th place as far as the best tax place at 8.15%. Now, some people may wonder why I look at the property tax so quick. And that is one of my big criteria is property tax, which is why I would not move to New Hampshire, even though they're pretty low tax, overall taxes. And that is because, as I said before, taxing property, and that's one of the things that Texas gets hit on, is their property tax and their sales tax. Sales tax I don't worry about too much as long as they're not taxing food, which Texas doesn't tax actual food, good food. They tax their junk food, but not nutritional food. But property tax I look at pretty high because property to me, this is why I hate property tax. If anything happens to you, and you and your spouse is unable to work anymore, will you keep your property? And one of the things I did, before I even got married, I made sure I had a job and property. Those were the two things I made sure I had. Because my whole thing, in as far as feeling secure, you can always get food. All right, so food doesn't, not being able to afford food, you're able to get food. You're able to get clothes. But will you have a place to live that's actually yours, that you do not have to worry about rent, and you do not have to worry about taxes, and you don't have to worry about, if something happens to where you lose your job, which in the trucking industry can happen pretty quick. All it takes is an accident, and you can lose your job in a heartbeat. So, just getting caught by DOT doing something majorly wrong to where you lose your CDL. Or, your driver's license gets taken away because of your stupid state laws that, where they'll take your driver's license away over a stupid thing, Will you keep your property without a job? And that's one of my things. And for me, I've got 20 acres, $60 a year. It will not take much for me to raise that $60 even if I can't work. So I do look at property pretty quick because to me that's my security blanket. I want my family to have a place to live. Even if I am without a job for a week, 2 weeks, a month, or even, if I have to find a low-paying job somewhere because I can't drive a truck anymore. And that's my thing, that's it's a security, food, a place to live, and clothes. Food and clothes you can get. So, New Hampshire, sorry, your property tax is way too high. Way too high. That's ridiculous. That's why I left New York. That was one of the biggest things that made me leave New York. 4.62%. Shoot, New Hampshire's higher than New York on property tax. But yeah, New York's property tax way too high. I have to have a place where I know I can get the at least get the money quick enough or easy enough. Shoot, we're running out of time already. This is our second time trying to do parking. Truck parking. We've talked about it on the show before. But going through Landline, I saw a bunch of news on it. And it's actually quite shocking that I still hear people say, oh, you guys complain about no place to park. That's you guys' own fault. You guys timed it wrong. You guys are waiting till last minute to look for a place to park. Truck parking's not an issue. It is. It really is. What I have here is, and we're going to go through it real quick. I'll just basically read the headlines. But a lot of different articles across the United States in real recent here this year. Okay. Texas is doing good. Texas town approves truck stop and parking. They in Belton, Texas, they authorized some truck parking, and they also approved a truck stop to open up there. Santa Fe saga over truck stop, not over. Santa Fe, New Mexico rejects plans for new pilot Flying J. And this is a problem we're having in a lot of big cities, which is why I try to make sure I'm not going to hit a big city when I'm running low on when I'm running low on time. In fact, both Travis and I have shut down real early many times to make sure we have truck parking. In fact, Travis, you always try to shut down before a certain time.
Yeah, I also try to leave early too, about 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, so I can shut down by 2 or 1, between 2 and 3.
Yep. And one of the things that destroys both of our planning on that is when we're being delayed at a shipper or consignee. Florida is horrible when it comes to truck parking. Oh, they are a nightmare.
Yeah, Florida is. California is really horrible, except until you get out in the desert and you can just park on the street on the side of the road out there.
That's one of the saving graces with California is they got a lot of land, a lot of areas where you can pretty much park anywhere. But the problem I have with that is bathroom. That's one of my problems with that. Of course, going pee ain't a problem, but the other number can be quite tricky. Here's with Florida. Apparently, the solution to a lack of parking spaces in Florida is not to add more parking spaces. Rather, it's to inform you what you already know. There's no parking available. And that's what they're talking about. There is a sign that they are trying to put up, to tell you how much parking spaces are available at certain areas. And after a certain time, all those signs say number of parking spaces available, 0. But there's been many surveys. Chicago's another area that's horrible. Very, very bad. In fact, in Chicago, I got a parking ticket because of that.
You got a parking ticket. Ha 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 ha.
Yep. Yeah, many years back when I was a owner operator, I parked at in a parking lot, Target parking lot, and a police officer came and gave me a parking ticket. I also got a parking ticket in the LA area too. Same thing. I parked in a.
Only you would get a parking ticket in private property.
Well, it goes back to what I've said before, about is it really private property or do they consider it public? Because what happens is you have city ordinances that prevent you from parking, even if the business gives you permission to park there, you still get a ticket from the police because of city ordinances. What some of these cities and states do is they make it to where, even though it's owned by an individual or a company, the city or the state will say, but that's really a public place. That's how they did the banning of smoking and all this other stuff. Is, you're paying the taxes, you own that company, but you don't have the freedom to say what can happen there or not. And, the business, Joe was talking about in our last show, about, a business being able to chase or detain a shoplifter. But the way that the government looks at it is, okay, we'll give you permission to do that. Somebody's stealing from you, you can detain them. But that's still a public place, But we're running out of time, so if you want to learn more about political TNT, go to www.ptat, that's Papa Tango Alpha Tango, .show. Go there and you can check us out, find out more about us. You can listen to all of our podcasts on Stitcher. Just do a search for Liberty National Network. You can also listen to us on Spreaker. That's like speaker, but with an R. That's Spreaker.com. On there, you're going to do a search for Political TNT. You can also go to my YouTube channel, OK Tomcat, and you can also listen to all of our podcasts on there. So lots of different ways you can listen to us. We are getting further out there. There are a few more podcast companies that are looking at us to have us on their websites, and we will make those announcements as we find out if we've been approved or if they want us or what. So if you listen to us on any of the podcasts, please hit the like, please comment, subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any of our shows. And comments, we welcome all comments, even if you have, even if you disagree with us. Please, if you disagree with us, please do comment. And listen to our live show. If you're listening to us on our podcast, listen to our live show, and feel free to call in, even if you disagree with us.
We're no longer
We won't be
broadcasting.
too hard on you. But yeah, check us out. Check out all of our podcasts. And our next show will be on Monday evening. That's our experiment show for right now. We're trying to see if that is going to work out for us to be able to have guests on again.
So far, it's doing pretty good.
Yeah. Our last, or not our last Monday, but the previous Monday, we kind of cut it close. But
well, that was the first show.
Yeah, and we were both picking up at the same time. But we're trying to get our guests back on. We just want to make sure that we have a
good timing to be able to do it where there won't be no interruption or anything. But we'll talk to you on Monday.
Take it easy. Have a good weekend.